Oh, this is not a family misunderstanding. This is a silent power move that could erase royal titles with one signature, and almost nobody sees it coming.
So, to when William becomes king, quite reasonably stripping Harry of his title, and perhaps down the track, Charlotte and
been legally stripped via Parliament. The titles, honors are simply no longer used by him at his request.
Prince William is reportedly formulating a plan to finally strip Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their HRH titles.
While the world was glued to streaming deals, tell-all interviews, and California sunshine, Prince William was doing something far more dangerous than arguing in public. He was planning in private. Not reacting, not venting, strategizing. There's talk of a document locked away inside Kensington Palace, drafted, refined, waiting. And when the moment comes, it doesn't create noise, it creates consequences. This didn't start in Britain, it started in Denmark.
Prince William has finally snapped. Enough is enough. He has told friends he will strip Meghan Markle of the
In 2022, Queen Margaret II made a move so cold, so clean, it sent a chill through every royal household in Europe. She removed titles from 4 of her own grandchildren. No drawn-out negotiations. No emotional speeches. One announcement, done. They went to sleep royal, they woke up not. And here's the part that made royal advisors everywhere sit up straight. It wasn't punishment. It was positioning. She said the monarchy needed clarity. Too many titles dilute meaning. Too many royals confuse the public about who actually represents the crown. William saw that, and he didn't just notice, he studied it. Because while King Charles III believes in mending fences, keeping doors open, hoping time softens wounds, William is thinking like a future CEO of a 1,000-year-old institution. He's not asking, how do we make everyone feel better? He's asking, how does this survive the next century?
Coming out of Royal Ascot as she balances her return, should more royals be asked to step up into the limelight?
To him, this stopped being personal a long time ago. It's structural. Every explosive interview, every streaming confessional, every headline chips at something bigger than family feelings. It chips at mystique, at authority, at the idea that the monarchy stands above the noise. And William's response? Not louder, sharper.
Disappointed, done. Behind palace doors, William has made it clear that he is willing to cut them off completely.
He reportedly built a quiet advisory circle. Historians, constitutional experts, royal scholars from across Europe. People who understand not gossip, but survival. They've studied which monarchies modernized successfully and which became ceremonial relics. The result? A blueprint. A modernization plan that doesn't scream drama, it whispers inevitability. At the heart of it is an old royal weapon most people have never heard of, letters patent.
William, not Charles, to strip Andrew of his princely titles and all vestiges of royal.
This isn't new. In 1917, George V used it to slim down who qualified as royal. One decree. The rules changed overnight. No vote, no debate, just authority. That same power still exists, dormant but valid. And the alleged modern version? It runs on one brutal principle. You're either a working royal or you're not. No halfway. No royal-adjacent entrepreneur. If you step away, the institution doesn't follow you into private business life.
It's just going to be nasty like that. And Meghan's actually threatened that she's going to take out some...
You can still be family. Christmas invitations don't disappear. But official status, representation, institutional backing, that becomes conditional on service. Which brings us to Meghan Markle. Because while William's side has been drafting frameworks, Meghan's been building a brand, lifestyle launches, media projects, public appearances. And attached to all of it, front and center, is one word, Duchess.
The standoff between the once inseparable royal brothers has captivated the world for years. From whispers...
That title isn't decoration, it's leverage. It opens doors. It changes negotiation rooms. It transforms a product launch into a royal-adjacent moment. The difference between celebrity project and royal story is worth millions in attention alone. But here's the tension. Royal titles aren't private trademarks. They're granted by the crown. And what's granted can be defined, limited, or restructured. Whispers say palace legal minds anticipated attempts to turn titles into independent brand assets long before anyone tried.
Prince William is absolutely raging at Harry and Meghan's cheeky plan to cash in on Mum Diana's legacy last month.
Old mechanisms, old protections, systems designed centuries ago for one purpose, guarding what belongs to the institution. Meanwhile, the entertainment industry isn't sentimental, it runs on math. Right now, Meghan's appeal sits at the crossroads of insider royal history and present-day public identity. Remove the second half of that equation officially, and the valuation questions get louder behind closed boardroom doors. And then there's Prince Harry. From William's alleged perspective, this isn't about sibling rivalry, it's about precedent. If exceptions are made for family, rules dissolve. If rules dissolve, hierarchy blurs. And when hierarchy blurs, monarchy becomes celebrity with nicer buildings. So the rumored plan doesn't stop with one couple. Names float in discussions. Prince Andrew, Princess Beatrice, Princess Eugenie, all evaluated through the same lens. Are they serving the institution full time? Because in this model, loyalty isn't the currency. Services. And yes, that conversation inevitably circles the children, Archie Mountbatten Windsor and Lilibet Diana, growing up oceans away from palace walls. From William's rumored institutional viewpoint, titles tied to non-working lines only add confusion to a system already under modern scrutiny. Cold? Maybe. Strategic? Absolutely. The contrast is sharp when you look at someone like Princess Anne. Decades of duty, hundreds of engagements, zero personal brand empire. In William's reported philosophy, that's the model. Quiet service equals preserved status. What makes this so powerful isn't aggression, it's framing. Nothing is described as punishment. Everything is labeled modernization, streamlining, clarity for the public. And who argues against clarity? So while headlines chase drama, the real story might be paperwork, drafts, legal language, structures being aligned for a future where the monarchy is smaller, tighter, and harder to monetize from the outside. If that document in the vault is real, it doesn't need a press conference. Just a moment, a signature, and history adjusts. And the wildest part? None of this requires a shouting match, a public vote, or a dramatic showdown on palace steps. Power here moves on paper, not press conferences. Because while California is cameras, podcasts, launches, and carefully curated appearances, London is paperwork, precedent, and patience. Inside royal structures, time works differently. A week in Hollywood can feel like a lifetime. In a monarchy, a decade is a planning phase. That's why the real tension isn't loud, it's quiet and creeping. Every brand deal, every red carpet walk, every glossy relaunch built around a royal connection is happening on one side, while on the other, legal frameworks are being polished that could redraw who officially counts as royal at all. Take the business world circling this situation. Streamers, publishers, investors, they're not sentimental. They look at uniqueness, market position, scarcity. Right now, the selling point is proximity to a living royal story, not history, not nostalgia, present tense connection. But if that connection shifts from officially linked to formally associated, the pitch changes. Sadly, but powerfully, it goes from inside access to outside commentary, from participant to observer. That's not nothing, but it's not the same currency. And industry people know it. Behind the scenes, conversations reportedly aren't dramatic. They're practical. What happens long term? What if structures change? What's the contingency if titles are redefined? Nobody's throwing tantrums, they're running scenarios. Meanwhile, back in Britain, the narrative being shaped isn't revenge, it's relevance. The message isn't we're angry, it's we're updating. Streamlining a system the public already questions, making it easier to understand who represents the state and who simply shares that. That framing is almost impossible to attack without sounding like you're defending confusion. Then there's the generational factor. Younger audiences don't automatically revere institutions, they evaluate them. If a monarchy looks bloated, inconsistent, or commercially entangled, it feels outdated. But if it looks focused, duty-driven, and clearly defined, it can reposition itself as modern tradition instead of inherited privilege. That's the long game. And here's where it gets emotionally complicated. Because while strategy might be cold, the people inside it aren't robots. There are siblings, spouses, children wrapped up in these decisions. Private relationships tangled in public roles. But institutions historically survive by separating the personal from the structural. Feelings are discussed in private. Rules are enforced in public. The rumored blueprint reflects that split. It doesn't say anyone is bad. It doesn't relitigate interviews or memoirs. It simply asks one question. Are you working on behalf of the crown full time? If yes, status remains. If no, status evolves. Evolves is the polite word, but evolution in royal terms can look like disappearance from the official core. Across Europe, smaller royal houses already made similar shifts. Leaner teams, fewer titled representatives, clearer lines. It's not radical in that context, it's catching up. What makes this explosive is the visibility of the people potentially affected. These aren't distant cousins no one recognizes. These are global figures with media reach, fan bases, critics, and commercial footprints. So the stakes aren't just constitutional, they're cultural. And yet, the palace doesn't need to win a culture war. It only needs to define its own structure. Public opinion will swirl. Headlines will scream, social media will pick sides, but legally and institutionally, clarity can exist regardless of noise. That's the asymmetry here. One side operates in cycles of attention, the other operates in eras. There's also a symbolism layer. Titles used to signal duty first, status second. Over time, celebrity culture flipped that perception. The rumored recalibration is an attempt to reverse it, to make titles feel earned through service again, not simply inherited or retained. If that reset happens, it sends a message far beyond one couple. This is a working monarchy, not a brand catalog. And timing matters. Even without a crown on his head yet, the future leader is already shaping tone. Public appearances focused on responsibility, causes tied to long-term impact. A quiet contrast to the noise elsewhere. Not louder, just steadier. So when people ask, will anything really change? They might be picturing dramatic scenes, televised declarations, emotional confrontations. But real change here would look almost boring in the moment. A formal document, updated definitions, a new normal that after the initial shock simply becomes how things are. No fireworks, just a line quietly redrawn. And years from now, people might look back and realize the shift didn't happen the day a crown was placed on a head. It happened in the years before, in meetings, drafts, consultations, and a slow reframing of what modern royalty means. On one side of the ocean, a life built on visibility, storytelling, and personal narrative. On the other, a system built on continuity, restraint, and institutional memory. Two models of influence, two ideas of power. One seeks relevance through exposure, the other through preservation. Which one lasts longer? History tends to favor structures that adapt without announcing every move, systems that absorb shock quietly, leadership that thinks in decades, not news cycles. And if that long rumored document ever leaves the vault and becomes active, it won't feel like an explosion. It'll feel like a door gently, firmly closing, not with a slam, but with a click that echoes for generations.